Howdy there folks, it's Henry, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the SOL Scout Survival Kit. So in this video I'm going to go over all the pieces that are in it and kind of give my opinion on the effectiveness of them, as well as give you a general sense of if it's something that you should invest in or not. This thing is nice and small for all the things that it has in it. I managed to fit it in my pocket quite comfortably. The other thing that I'll add is that it's also very light. So as it comes, this thing weighs 5.3 ounces. And with the addition of a book of matches that I added, it brings it up to only 5.5 ounces. All in all, it's very light, substantially less than a pound. So it's pretty light and manageable in that regard. The other thing that I'll add as far as transportation goes is that I think you would just be able to strap it onto your belt using this little clip as well, if that's something that you wanted to do. So kind of like that, not as comfortable, a little bit more awkward I think than the pocket, but I think that it works pretty well nonetheless. Additionally, the price was a little over $27. You have to determine if that's equivalent to the value for the individual items in here. I personally think that it's worthwhile, but at the end of the day, that's a judgment call for you. I've included a link down in the description below to the website, so you can actually go to the Survive Outdoors Longer kind of website and look at their products yourself and kind of shop around there if you are interested in even going with this brand. So with that said, let's actually get into the individual pieces and figure out how they work together. I've included time codes in this video so you can skip around and kind of see the things that you're in particular curious about. So the first thing I'm going to be testing is if this bag is actually waterproof. The company says that it is, and I have no reason to distrust them yet. So we're going to just give it a go though and actually see how much that is the truth. So I will say right up top that I do have a little tear on this corner here. I haven't really used this a lot, so I'm not sure why it would have teared so readily. But that might be a potential area of error. But what we're gonna do is I'm going to put this piece of paper towel with marker written on it that says works, because I'm testing to see if it works. I'm gonna put it in the bag, fill up the sink, and then set it in there for a little while, and then pull it out, and then see if there's any bleeding or moisture on the paper towel that indicates that, hey, this might not actually be waterproof. So let's do that. Okay, so I can already tell you that it didn't work out like I thought it would, or at least hoped that it would, because this in here is pretty darn moist. I think the paper towel is fully saturated almost, except for this little corner here. So waterproof, I would say hardly as far as submersion goes, but water resistant, maybe. I think that, obviously it provides some sort of coverage and protection from water. So as long as you're not like jumping into rivers, with this thing in your pocket, it should, I think, be okay. But like for full submersion, I have my doubts. Once again, this tear might be a factor of contribution, but I don't think that it can be determined to be fully responsible. I think that, I just wouldn't necessarily trust this product as far as water submersion goes. Next, I think we should consider one of the trickiest areas of survival, and I think that is fire. I think most people can agree upon. And there's two things that this survival kit gives you in order to deal with fire. Number one is this sparker. So the sparker is just this little orange thing, it makes a spark when you kind of run it, kind of like a lighter, so pretty standard there. And the next thing is these 4 cotton fire starters, which you are trying to ignite using your sparker. And they come in a little bag here, so they're kept especially dry. Now, I think that these are going to be incredibly difficult to use. I did try the sparker out myself the other day, and I found it to be ridiculously difficult to use. So actually, I ended up adding a 32 count book of matches to my pack. I measured the sparker and I measured the matches, and I'll tell you what, the book of matches is actually lighter, so I think that that alone is reason enough to carry them. 32 matches will carry you a long way if you're, wise with them. So we're going to try it first with the sparker and see if we can just start, get a flame using the sparker with any sort of ease, and then we'll try it with the matches and then we'll compare. Oh, hang on. So we got a little bit of a spark there. Okay, hang on. Okay, we got fire. Okay, well, let's not drop it too much. Okay, still got the fire. Trying to catch the stick on fire. See if I can do it. Okay, it's burning nice and slowly, this little cotton piece. So I did have to tear away some of the cotton from like the body of it in order for it to actually catch any spark really, which that may actually very well be how you have to use these things. But yeah, I think it made it a little more tenable. Either way, it burnt out, wasn't able to catch the wood on fire. You know, it's a trial and error process, obviously, so I think this is certainly something that you could use to start a fire, but I think we'll quickly find that matches are obviously a lot quicker. So let's try that now. Okay, trying to catch the cotton on fire here, and voila. Okay, so learned a valuable lesson in airflow immediately on that first attempt, because I did go through 2 matches before I got this, but you know, it's just a relearning curve, right? So now I'm going to try to catch the wood on fire, and let's see if we can do it. If not, that's fine. I'm not in a survival situation, and if I were, you know, I'd give it more than 1 try. Everything's a bit damp here too, which probably doesn't help. Oh, okay, so the wood is now caught on fire. So with both having been used, I think both have their merit. I think obviously the sparker has a reusability aspect, which is kind of helpful. You know, you can use it for a lot longer. Once you're done with the book of matches, you know, you're done. Also, this seems less subject to issues with wind, so if it's really gusty, this might be a better call. These little cotton pieces work really well. They burn for quite a long time after you have lit them, so it gives you some time to work. I would recommend like breaking them up into pieces so that you don't use all of them so quickly if you ever do find yourself needing to use them. With these pieces combined, I think you're a lot closer to actually starting a fire than if you don't have them at all. All right, so then the next piece of consideration would have to be the compass, which, you know, is pretty standard. You know, you lay flat and then you kind of turn. So according to this, that's north. And just as a cross reference point, if you can see through my dirty screen, okay, my phone reads that as being north. So I would say that these are pretty well aligned. Looks like this one points a little more to the right, perhaps. But it's really close. I mean, it's so close, I wouldn't, you know, worry about that kind of discretion. But, you know, spin it around, seems to be correcting course, seems at least consistent. So I think that, you know, is simply what it is. I think that this is a functional compass. Okay, so I think the next 2 pieces of consideration have to be the light shiner that you can kind of use to signal to like passing things overhead, and then this whistle. So the light shiner, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you know, it's just a basically reflective mirror type situation that you can angle in the sunlight. I believe the video that I saw about this says that it can go up to 10 miles in distance and like still like shine the light. So that's pretty impressive. I don't think there's like a lot to show here, especially on this kind of overcast day, but you kind of get the general idea of it. And the whistle, this is another thing where it's like, you know, it's pretty straightforward as far as what it is. Nice little orange whistle, but I'll just give it a go so you get a sense of the sound. So it works. It works. So I think another basic run-of-the-mill piece would just have to be this little kind of thing of duct tape. I mean, it's pretty standard duct tape. You know, you just roll it off, you do the tear. So I don't really have a lot to say about this little guy, other than, you know, it might be nice to have. I'm not gonna kind of rat on that. You know, it's light, it's easy to have. I'm sure if you're trying to patch up something or like, you know, build something, this might be a nice thing to have. So now you know. I think another piece that's worth bringing to your consideration is just this little tube. So in this tube, it has several things that could be quite useful, I imagine. One of them being 4 bobby pins, and one of them being a sewing needle. So these obviously could be helpful for a number of reasons, similar to the duct tape if you're just kind of patching things up. But the other thing in here that's useful would have to be this little bag that contains 4 fishing hooks and 2 weights and some fishing line. So obviously there's a lot of different things that you can do with this. So the fishing line obviously has a wide range of applications. I'm assuming that can kind of reconnect with that sewing needle. So that obviously comes with its own value. But with those other pieces that I mentioned, you can also, you know, in theory, go fishing. So I'm not gonna go fishing with this today, but I think that it's something worth trying in the future, and I might actually make a video trying to fish using this kind of rinky-dink little setup. But you know, it's better than nothing. That's all I can say on that front. And it's small, it's in a nice little tube. You know, I don't think it hurts to have. Okay, and I guess the last piece that I'll bring into your consideration is this emergency blanket, I guess you could call it. So, you know, you look at it, it looks just like a piece of orange foil in a Ziploc bag initially, but when you unfold it, you realize, oh no, it's like this, you know, big foily kind of tarp kind of deal. So very lightweight. Maybe you could use it as a rain flap if you're building a makeshift shelter, but I believe the biggest benefit of it is that it's very insulatory with the material that it's made of. So if you cover up with it, I think in theory it should keep you warm like during the night. I think that that's kind of the primary objective. So let's give it a try and tell you how warm it is, I guess. Well, I'll tell you what, this isn't how I ideally would like to sleep, but it keeps you surprisingly warm. It holds in the heat pretty well. It's a pretty gusty day out today, so you know, the weather isn't the warmest it could be. So I think the fact that I'm pretty comfortable in here right now is a promising sign. Obviously you don't want, I think, to have to rely on this, but it's certainly better than nothing, I think, and it's a good piece, I think, to include in the kit. I will, however, guess that this thing is a real pain to get put back in the bag, so let's give that a try and see how that works. I'm not even sure if I can call this a complaint. Like, I understand, like, you know, you can only fit it in so well, but it's certainly not going as well in as it came out. So I guess when you're putting this back in the pack, if you're like me and also struggle to get it folded back up, you're just gonna have to cram it in there. Also, I would advise that you don't take this out unless you absolutely need to. I was doing this for the sake of demonstration, but I don't think you need to do that to yourself. So with all that said, yeah, I think it's a pretty solid survival kit. I think that it obviously has a lot of things going for it. It's a very dense yet light package. So I think that if you're looking for something that's light and easy to carry around, this isn't a bad way to go. Personally, I would recommend if you're going on excursions where you feel like a survival kit might be necessary, you know, obviously load up your backpack or whatever you have with things more full than this. But I think it's just kind of a light travel thing, you know. The pieces in here work well enough that it's worth getting. With all that said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in seeing more content like this, please feel free to subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.